Thoughts?
Yeah, I think you did the right thing.
Okay, Danny was saying I should do it.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. Danny smokes bath salts, so you can't trust that guy. Be careful.
Welcome back, everybody. We are Rough Draft Research. You are the audience, and together we are on a quest for Dynasty Domination. How's it going over there, Danny?
It's great. It's great. It's the off season,
Hmm.
and I think things are getting rocky. By
Yeah,
which I mean we're chasing chickens. We're getting our stamina up to get ready for the fantasy season. So, how are you doing, Christian?
fair enough. Good. Some terrible news with the Josh Jacobs stuff for my Green
Sure.
Bay Packers. Obviously, we'll see how that all plays out. So that's not great, and it's the heat of the off season now. We are in the true off season, so just waiting for some actual real f football to talk about. But other than that, I'm doing good, man. I can't complain.
Real football? You mean like Rasheed Rice violating his
Oh, jeez.
parole or whatever by getting high?
Yeah.
Yeah, the off season, man, where dreams are broken and I don't know.
Yeah, obviously
Fantasy
Rasheed
football.
Rice, that's a crazy situation and he just can't stay out of trouble. But also I feel for that because it's gotta suck to be recovering from surgery in prison or in jail or whatever
Yeah,
he's in.
no.
Like that's gotta be a
Yeah,
pain
hopefully,
in
yeah,
the ass.
he can get light duty
Yeah.
on his chores or whatever.
Yeah,
But
what
yeah.
the fuck? It sucks.
So it's
But
crazy, man. Three up, three down, baby. Here we go.
yeah, on that note, yeah, let's move on, talk about some potentially happier subjects than everyone
Okay.
getting arrested. So we did this last year. We're going to do it again this year, where we talk about after the draft, three veterans who are stock up and three veterans who are stock down after the incoming rookie class. So basically, just how we feel about some guys, and what happened in the draft that's going to affect their value going forward. So, I guess, do you want to start positive or do you want to start negative?
I'm locked in on negative, so
Okay, let's do some
um
negative. I can throw one out first if you want. We can go negative.
do it.
There's not a ton to say about this one. I found it more difficult to do negative. I think that had a lot to do with the overall strength of the class being relatively low in our opinion, so it was harder to kind of really see glaring guys. But I think Zach Charbonnet is an obvious one. Feels
Sure.
very obvious. He ended the season hurt last year. And now, like, I was trying to do some research on it, and it's saying like there was reports that it's going to be like a mid-season return, which is really, really tough, especially for a guy who was never a three down guy by himself unless Kenneth Walker was hurt. So then the
Right.
Seahawks go out and get Jadarian Price with their first round pick after winning the Super Bowl. So I mean, again, this is going to be really short because there's not much to say about it, but I feel like anyone that was potentially holding out hope for a Charbonnet RB1 type season post Kenneth Walker, that's been quickly dashed, and you shouldn't be holding on to that hope at all. And that was before I was writing this before I knew that it was apparently a mid-season return for him. So, yeah, downward signs for a guy
U-
that we liked a lot coming out.
UCLA's finest, man. Um, I think the first round draft capital was just like the coffin
Yeah.
for him, you know. I mean, it's tough. There was such limited options in this running back class, and for them
Mm,
to just get aggressive and make it happen, kind of a reach on the talent level, but really telling move for the need. And so yeah, he doesn't have much competition whatsoever. So it's definitely bad news for Charbonnet. It's worse than some of these other running back situations where it's not just fighting for your job, it's fighting to get back on the field, and then
just to
also.
fight for your
Um,
job. Like,
yeah, exactly. It's like, man, cheering for the team, good to go. He's gonna be looking down at that Super Bowl ring, rehabbing, wondering. I don't know,
yeah,
man. It's a
that's
bad deal.
tough.
So
That's tough.
here I go. I'm making it worse by continuing to speak. So I'm just gonna pivot right off of it and go um, on a negative as well. I'll stay with the running backs. I went with RJ Harvey.
Mm, mm.
I view him as a down, and there's a lot of reasons for this. I really liked him coming out of UCF. He had back-to-back stunning years in college.
Yeah.
And then he goes to Denver, and you're like, okay, this could be good. See what Sean Payton does with him. And on the ground, he plays second fiddle to Dobbins in a big way.
Yeah.
Really good in the receiving game. Actually impressed that he had 12 touchdowns as a rookie last year.
Yeah,
That's
pretty
tied
wild.
with yeah, he's tied with Jonathan Taylor for fifth most all-purpose touchdowns for a rookie since 2015, which I thought was pretty impressive. But then, in March, Dobbins gets an $8 million guaranteed 2-year deal
Hmm.
with Denver, and then they go after the fourth running back in Jonah Coleman in the
Mm.
draft. They take him 50 spots over Emmett Johnson and Nicholas Singleton. So it's kind of obvious that Harvey's going to be losing some ground to
Yeah.
these guys, especially Coleman, who's coming off 3 years, past 3 years to 79 receptions and a ton of versatility. So it's just hard to imagine him getting any sort of continuation of that 12 touchdown season or an
Yeah.
increase in workload with that competition level.
Yeah, especially because like you said, Dobbins already kind of beat him on the ground, and then Jonah Coleman is a hybrid guy. Like we talked about it
Hmm.
all offseason. He has the chops to play both sides. So any slip up from Harvey here, who was a hot name coming
Yeah.
out of the draft last year, going in the first round in most dynasty rookie drafts, is almost like kind of been forgotten about. Like, and he was an older, if I remember correctly, he's an older
Yeah.
back coming out too. So it's not looking good for him. You're right. I thought about throwing him on the list, but ended up not. But I'm 100% with you for sure.
Yeah, he's gonna be 25 and a half when the season starts, man.
Yeah.
It's
So
it's brutal.
yeah, it's really tough to already have somebody breathing down your neck. And then yeah, I think everyone thought J.K. Dobbins would be gone, and then
Yeah.
maybe they'd take like a couple undrafted rookies or like some lower end free agents and roll with Harvey, but that doesn't seem to be the case. So. Yeah, tough for him. It's also tough for one, Ricky Pearsall, I think.
Ooh, shit.
Ricky was unable to stay healthy last season. Despite he had some pop-up games though, like he looked good from
Yeah.
time to time, but just couldn't stay on the field consistently enough. So then the Niners, they go out and they sign Mike Evans and they sign Christian Kirk. Which if that were it, if that was all they did, it wouldn't be amazing for Parasol, but it wouldn't be that bad. Wouldn't be the worst thing in the world to have other guys with him, especially given that Ayuk is MIA, who knows what's going on there. And then John Jennings is now a Minnesota Viking. But then the 49ers go out and take Deshaun Stribling at the number 33rd overall pick, their first pick in the draft. That was like the big sign to me that like, okay, are they calling it on Parasol potentially? Like, obviously they're still going to use him. They're going to try, but this is going to be year three of Ricky Parasol. And they're going to need to make a decision on that fifth year option soon or going into next year. They're going to need to figure out a lot with him. And I now for a guy that can't stay healthy, he just lost a lot of leeway in terms of if he's not on the field and Stribling pops, or Evans is the guy that he was with Tampa Bay, or even Christian Kirk still has a little bit of pop to him. If he can get rolling in that offense, it's tough. Especially, Pearsall, it was looking okay coming into the offseason because obviously he couldn't stay healthy. but he was still second on the team in targets in terms of wide receivers, despite missing 8 games. But now, with this massive influx at the wide receiver position, I just think Pearsall really can't afford to miss any more time, and he needs to produce while he's out there. And he's not really proven that he's capable of staying on the field. He's only played 20 of 34 games in his first 2 seasons. So, I mean, you're dangerously close to missing half your games there. And yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I was a Ricky guy. I liked pairing him with Kyle Shanahan, and like I said, he had some good games last year. So like the potential's still there, and maybe it all work. I mean, obviously Mike Evans isn't a long-term solution, neither is Christian Kirk, obviously. But when their first pick is a wide receiver after signing 2 vets, it shows you how they feel about that position.
Oof. I can't believe it, man. You're getting Dijon Stribling getting excited about him, aren't you? I see it.
I don't know
I
about
see
that.
it.
Just more worried that it's all gonna mix together and I don't know. Like I don't
Yeah.
know that any of them are gonna pop that hard. Maybe Mike Evans, to be honest. That it seems.
Mike Evans, yeah, it's gonna happen. It's gonna be some, yeah, I don't even want to talk about it, man. Yeah, this is a good call on your part. Those additions, I don't want to say anything positive about Christian Kirk until he earns it.
Yeah.
Seriously, what are we doing here? This guy, how many teams is he? Is this his fifth
A
team now?
lot. Yeah, it's something like
It's
that.
it's insane. So good for him, keep it rolling, keep the bank pumped up. But yeah, Ricky Parasol, I think, is going to have to surprise us at this
Hmm.
point to live up to that first round value. And like you're saying, Brandon Ayuk, I don't think he plays for the Niners. They're not acting as if they
No.
have a plan for him, except for like to, I don't
To
know
get rid of him.
what. Yeah, like he's an NFL timeout bigger than I've ever seen ever.
Yeah.
It's wild. So yeah, I think it's a good shout on Ricky. I'd be scared. I have no shares of him,
Yeah. I have
and I
one.
don't think. There you go. I don't think my Mike Evans shares are afraid of Ricky's competition level. Hey,
I
look at
can't
you.
figure out which way to go. There we go. There it is. Ricky
Oh
over
no,
there.
it's hard. It's like
Uh,
cutting your own hair in the mirror.
um, yeah, no, the Mike Evans shares that you have are definitely going to pop this year. I'm sad I don't have any of that. I think him and Brock Purdy are going
Got
to
them
work
all.
well. Christian Kirk, this will
Got
be
'em.
his fourth team, by the way. Arizona, Jacksonville, Houston, and now San Francisco.
What? Okay. Okay. Yeah, I had a team between Houston and San Francisco for some reason. Okay, that's good. Good call. I like it. Um, all right, I'm gonna make my transition to the wide receiver room
Okay.
and go with Jerry Judy.
Oof. Oh
Hey,
yeah, that's a good
hey.
shout. Yeah.
Yeah, it's extremely clear. This is more obvious than an injured Zach Charbonnet.
Yeah.
Insane, dude. This guy, disappointment and opportunity have come together in such a way as to only be described as a constant letdown of a career.
Yeah.
It's insanity, man. He had a beautiful, 1,200 yard season
Hmm.
1 year in 2024. But I don't know if you guys remember what created his only 1,000 yard season, but it was what we can only describe as top 10 Florida awesomeness and Jameis Winston with
Just
Ken Dorsey as the
starting it.
OC. It's insane. Yeah, it was like if you look at his statistics for that year, it's like 70-yard game, 30-yard game,
Hmm.
140-yard game, and
Hmm.
like just the Winston games are that entire season for him. And then, you follow it up and you don't have that kind of gunslinger stuff going on, and he can't back it up.
Yeah.
And that's okay. It's fine. Maybe he'll find a time machine and go back and live his glory days from the college years. But I'm kind of giving up on him.
Yeah.
And it's clear to me that a team that had a lot of change this past season and had a lot of needs, I think. They ended up spending the 24th and the 39th pick on wide receivers Casey
Hmm.
Concepcion and Denzel
Yeah.
Boston, which are some rowdy guys that are about to crowd Jerry right out of this room.
Hmm.
It's cut and dry for me. Like, you know, yeah, when you get outmatched, you get outplayed. You're soon to be outpaid and probably turned away. It's done for Mr. Judy for me.
Yeah. No, there's no shot. I mean, he's probably, I mean, they're going to want to take a look at these guys. They want to see who they like going forward for whatever quarterback they're going to try and get in the 2027 draft. So I don't see Judy making much of an impact here. I honestly see him as like a trade candidate if anybody were to like want to like mid-season want a cheap wide receiver if they get an injury or something. That's like the most that I could see out of Jerry Judy. And it sucks that the one I held him for so long and then finally traded him for him to have one decent year as soon as he started to be good. And that's annoying. But yeah, I love Concepcion, obviously, and then Boston's like a huge upside wild card to me. So they're gonna want to get these guys, and then Harold Fannon's gonna feast in that offense as well. Plus, they're probably gonna run the ball a lot. So like whatever he
That's it.
would have been able to do, it's yeah, I think it's curtains for Mr. Judy, unfortunately. I'll keep it in the wide receiver room. And this is gonna be, I want to preface this by saying this is like mild disappointment, just based on off
Ugh,
last year, but I still think he's gonna be good. So don't get it
okay,
twisted. To me, it's Chris Olave. Now,
gotcha.
it's okay. It's a lot of things, right? So Jordan Tyson obviously goes to the Saints eighth overall. That doesn't scare me necessarily. It would be nice to have somebody other than Chris Olave there, right?
Sure.
To take some pressure off of him. And then Tyson's obviously had some injury concerns. So does Olave, which is worrisome. But to me, it's like the Saints really turned over their roster, trying to like add weapons to see what they have out of Tyler Shuck and kind of right the decrepit offense that they had last year. Tyson's obviously added at the 3-9. They take Oscar Delp. Bryce Lance goes at the round 4 36 pick. Travis Etienne comes over. Sorry, Travis Achan comes over in free
No,
agency. They might be losing Alvin
sounds
Kamara, but at this point in time, like that's not the biggest detriment in the world, especially when you bring in Achan. But the long and short of it is more that I just don't think Olave is going to get 156 targets next season. There's just going to be all of a sudden there's too many mouths to feed that they're going to want to see. They want to see what Shuck can do, obviously, but they also want to see Tyson. They're also going to want to see Delp. They're going to want to see potentially Bryce Lance thrown in there and then throwing the balls to the running backs. I still think Olave will be the number one wide receiver for the Saints. But if his targets, let's say they even dropped to 120 and he maintains the same reception percentage that he did last year, and I'm not blaming him or Shuck necessarily, but like his reception percentage last year was only 64%. He caught 100 of the 156 targets that he had. So that's not terrible, but it's not amazing. So if you put that at the same rate, you drop 120 targets to 76 to yeah, you drop 156 targets to 120. 64% of that is 76 catches. So if you do his averages for how much he caught per pass, that catch rate, he would be at 883 yards and 7 touchdowns this season. In a PPR league, he would have dropped from the wide receiver 6 to the wide receiver 18, which again, not terrible, like that's not a horrible season, but from a guy that was like a league winner last year coming in and changing the game, especially because a lot of people traded for him, myself included, in a league, and he ended up in that league, didn't take me to the championship, but he really helped out my roster. Uh, that is a pretty big jump, pretty big drop for a guy that was the wide receiver 6. And that's if he only loses 36 targets. Like if he loses more and keeps that same
yeah.
rate, you never know. Now, obviously, maybe it'll help him with the reception percentage to have guys that are actually viable instead of Devon Valley being the number 2 wide receiver and Rashid Shaheed having the second most targets, even though he got traded halfway through the season to the Seahawks. So maybe, just maybe that'll help. Like I'm not saying that the sky is falling here. It was just a concern and like something I thought I should highlight. Because maybe, yeah, maybe you'll have a better reception rate. or lose fewer targets than I'm expecting. But to me, there is an obvious worry for him at least repeating what he did last year.
I feel you, man. Obviously, I got love for the guy down in my heart. I believe he is still number one in all of America and being Mr. Smooth. He's the smoothest, and we're gonna keep him because he's the cat's ass. So
Cat's
I get
ass.
scared. Yeah, that's what I'm about. Cat ass. You know what I mean? Meow. Um,
Well,
I thought for a second that we were both like, oh, I could only find three downs. And then you're like, I'm gonna stick with wide receiver. And I thought, man, how did we both come out with the tight list and not interfere with each other? And then I'm doing Juwan Johnson. So
okay, damn.
you got me.
Uh,
No, but you nailed it. He's coming off of 102 targets last
mhm.
year. Never, that's not going to happen again.
No.
But you're right. Delp at 73, obviously top 10 on Tyson. Noah Fant has been added to this roster as well, so there's some
Yeah.
competition. And then Trevor E and Alvin K are still. Um, they're eating those tight end style targets
Yeah.
anyway. So
hmm
the landscape will never be the same as it was last year. But since I went short on that, I'll state the obvious that Tyler Algier,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah, he was
it's
on the
just,
short list for sure.
yeah, it's like, hello, goodbye.
Yeah, that was some
He's
low-hanging fruit. But
got,
yeah,
yeah,
poor Tyler
got,
Algier.
got his dream job and was fired on the drive to town. So,
Did you
but yeah, man,
hear his
go
rap
ahead.
song about it?
Oh no, dude. He went to BYU, so I don't want to. I'm not trying to hear any BYU rap songs. Just putting that out there.
So
Zach Wilson.
this is one of those things that I got tricked on. So I wanted to see if you had seen it and got tricked on it as well. It was somebody made it and just said it was Tyler Algier, but
Oh,
it was
okay. Okay.
it's pretty funny to be honest.
Okay.
I don't think it
Right
was
on,
meant
man.
to be funny, but like it
Tyler
was pretty
Algier
silly.
rap song.
Um, but yeah. Yeah, no, he was on the list. I decided to go away from him. I mean, I know I did Charbonnet, but I was like, I can't do two obvious running backs. And I just felt
Yeah.
bad to pick on poor Tyler Algier. But yeah, no, I feel you on the Juwan Johnson thing because he was like serviceable at times last year, and he's
Oh
not
yeah.
gonna be anymore. So let's head
No.
over to positive land. I'm gonna kick it back to the running back room.
Okay.
And I'm going to talk about Mr. Chase Brown from the
Okay. There you
Cincinnati
go.
Bengals. I was very surprised that the Bengals did not take a running back at all in the
For real.
2026 draft. That was crazy, but they did take a wide receiver in the fourth, which is like, I feel like you got your wires crossed there. I feel like you needed a running, but you don't need, you're good. You're good on receiver. But okay, fuck me, I guess. Um, Chase Brown
Get him.
already 26 years old. He's coming into the league as a fairly old rookie. This is the last year of his rookie deal. And he's obviously produced tremendously for the Bengals. He was one of our sleepers coming out of that draft. He had a really great combine, and he's been everything that the Bengals could expect him to be, even when Joe Burrow's down. So like I get why they love him. It makes sense. Um, yeah. So, I really do understand how he's keeping his job here, but I just expected them to kind of begin the exit plan on Chase Brown. He's due a contract at the end of the season, like I said. And with the needs on the Bengals defense that we all know about, the needs on the offensive line that we all know about, and then the money they've already spent on Burrow, Chase, and Higgins, it still doesn't feel like a Chase Brown extension is coming anytime soon, at least not in my opinion. So this seemed like the perfect time to look at another option. Now, I granted it's a weaker RB class, so maybe they just like were not vibing with any of the guys that they could have taken because they obviously needed to address defense first. So like I do understand it, but I still felt like it was at least time to like take a shot on a guy like in the fourth or fifth round, but maybe not. So the Bengals choose to stay firm with Chase Brown, not bring in any competition. So his only backs behind him are Samaje Perine and Taj Brooks again, and not much else. So to me, it seems like at least for one more season, you've got Chase Brown as like a potential league winning RB.
88 targets, Chase Brown.
Yeah.
Yes. And while talking statistics, 2.8 yards per carry. 10 letters for you. Taj Brooks. Bring the heat, man. Bring the heat. This is extremely shocking to me as well. And I think that it's probably going to work out just fine because what is a defense going to do?
Mm,
They're going to be like Chase who they probably kept him. They're like they're not going to take a guy named Chase Brown very seriously. Let's just keep him. You get a flashy name in there, they might notice that there's a running back on the field,
that's
not just
true.
Higgins. And yeah, and Chase, so other Chase, big Chase, tall Chase. Anyway, I like it. That's a good call. He was definitely on my long short list on the upsiders, so I'll take it. I love it. I think you did well. I'm gonna go with a running back as well, and this one is a little different.
Okay.
Let's see. Let's gonna see. I'm gonna play the guessing game. You never. This is a horrible. I'm gonna really do you dirty here. So let me go ahead and say I had 83 rush attempts, which is one more than my quarterback. Yet he scored four more rushing touchdowns and had 50 more rushing yards than me.
Mm,
And I guarantee that I will never say his running back cohort's last name from last year properly. Now it's Bashul Tootin, dude.
okay.
83 attempts, 300 yards, five touchdowns. Not great. I think so. He's up for this is all right. We all know what's happening here, right?
Mm.
Basically nothing. Like I don't know. Jacksonville, you guys do you. You know what I mean? You remind me of oh, I'm not even gonna say. I don't want to be rude. So Bashulton gets an obvious bump from the offseason free agency activities. Travis E, formerly of the team, takes his immense load of running work, 260 attempts, and he heads back to Louisiana and Tootin, who doesn't really have a very stellar resume on a single year of work, is left with basically no competition
Yeah.
outside of Chris Rodriguez Jr.,
Yeah.
who comes in free agency. And so I'm just looking at this and I'm just perplexed by it. And he didn't even have great efficiency. It was 3.7 yards per attempt on under 100 carries. I'm just going to tell you, he had basically the same season as Sean Tucker,
Mm,
who isn't necessarily being asked to lead one of the 32 NFL football teams in rushing, relatively undisputed. I just don't get it with Jacksonville. It
yeah.
feels like they like lost a page of
Hmm.
their 2026 plan
Plan.
book.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like you're missing a page. It's called the running back. But Tootin, I mean, if you have him, he's gonna get smothered in rush attempts. He's
Yeah.
gonna have at least 150 carries. Even at 3.7 yards, that's a starting caliber fantasy asset. So bring it on, man. Three up, way up. Cannot believe that they
Yeah.
went this route in the NFL draft and just forgot to address the position. So I'm baffled. But tooting that horn now. He's good to go.
Yeah. He does. he does get the up here. I'm with you. I am a little concerned in terms I don't have any shares, so I'm not that concerned. I'm a little concerned that he gets late off-season addition to that RB room, like maybe a
Yeah.
Kamara trade or like one of the vets that's still out in the market.
Cream
Potentially.
Hunt.
RB. I want to look and see who's left. Oh, Najee's out there, Joe Mixon's
Yeah.
out there. I mean, nobody great, but like somebody to just take,
Chuba or
protect, or
just joking.
whenever Arizona has to cut one of the 15 running backs they have on their roster, maybe they go over to Jacksonville. Uh, maybe Nick Chubb. Nobody that's gonna
Mm,
like take the starting
that's
role
fair.
from him, but somebody that could definitely take some carries away from him. So that, yeah, I mean, it's a pretty interesting spot. But I mean, you're right. Like you can't if you have him, you're stoked. Like they didn't bring anybody really to replace him. So,
It's a
yeah,
lottery ticket,
for
but hey,
sure. Speaking of lottery tickets, I have a few guys on here. Maybe I'll speed round them at the end. But I did want
okay.
to. This one's gonna be quick because there's not a ton to say. But Jonathan Brooks, low key, kind of made it through this relatively unscathed, and I think the fact that he did says a lot about how Carolina feels about his healing process. There's like obviously there's not a ton to say here. He's massive setback year one and year two, huge injury risk, but he's coming back. He spent all last year getting healthy. He's already at OTA, so he's out there working. And the Panthers let Rico Dowdle walk. The only free agent they brought in was AJ Dillon, and they didn't draft a single running back. So you could almost double this as well for Chuba Hubbard.
Yeah.
But to me, this should send green flags
Mm.
about how they feel about Jonathan Brooks. Like he's only turning 23 this season, so he's still relatively young. I mean, shit, Chase Brown came in at 23. So he's only going to be 23. I think we could see a situation where at the beginning of the year it's a split Chuba dominated running, and if Brooks is healthy and he becomes to at least be a similar type guy to what he was in college, like we could see him taking over more work as the season goes along. And now maybe not necessarily this year, but to me this sets up a runway for Jonathan Brooks to kind of prove what he is, prove that he can stay healthy, and then maybe go into 2027 as the Carolina lead guy.
Yeah, no, it's wild, man. I mean, he fell all the way off of the radar, getting that back-to-back, injuries and multi-season absence. But I thought they were going to have to do something to make Rico the guy here, and
Hmm.
they didn't. And then, yeah, they didn't even supplement his absence. So
Yeah.
you're right. I've never heard anyone say green flags, but that's 100% what we're looking at here. So let your green flag fly on the Jonathan Brooks front.
Yeah.
So we'll see how it goes, dude. I don't know. I traded him somewhere. The only place I had him, I lost patience, but life goes on, man.
To
That's okay.
me,
I'm not sweating it. Um, but I think also life goes on in what I'm calling a post Michael Pittman Indianapolis wide
mm,
receiver room. Eh, not quite sure I get it
no,
with the decision making here. I was
nuh-uh.
gonna, yeah, see, I'm gonna follow through. I was gonna compare Jacksonville's missed opportunities with the Colts overconfidence. And yeah, just letting old Michael Pittman piece out. It's kind of bizarre to me. This guy is 5 seasons in a row over 100 targets, a huge chunk of what they're doing there, and he's out the door. So everyone's like, "Man, Alec Pierce is the dude. Alec Pierce is the dude." Um, and I get it. He's gonna have to probably play as a number one wide receiver in this offense, but I'm more excited. Arrows up on Josh Downs.
Yeah.
because he's out there, he's crushing it. His yards per are pretty sexy. He's right at 11 for his career, and he's averaging just about 100 targets per season. So the workload is already there for him. It's going to be a jump for Pierce, but I think for Downs, it's pretty sustainable. He's already acting like a number one, 1B style volume. And I kind of think that people are getting a little confused. Keep Trade Cut has Pierce at wide receiver 31 and Downs at wide receiver 38. And, I know Downs doesn't have the build to be like a true alpha number one wide receiver in the NFL, but I think that the utilization and his skill set are highly effective. And I do think that he's going to get an increased workload. And I do think fantasy wise, we might see him edge out Alec Pierce. So I'm giving both these guys an up, but I'm really starting to get excited about Josh Downs just mostly because I'm not hearing enough about him given the
Yeah.
opportunity and the role he's going to be asked to fill here.
Yeah. I think the reason for that is just I think there's a lot of concern and confusion about what the Colts offense is going to look like at all. Like with Daniel
Hmm.
Jones, first of all, I know he was hurt, but he did start to fall off like mid-season, right after their big run they were on, and then now he's coming off an Achilles tear. Then you're gonna say, oh, okay, it's Anthony Richardson or Riley Leonard leading this offense. So we just don't know what it's going to look like. And then nobody said Alec Pierce's name more than probably us going into his draft. But we
Yeah,
kind of always said he was could be like his ceiling was like an awesome two. And you're
right.
right. Now we're expecting him to be the guy there. But I'm with you. I like the potential of Downs. I've always liked Downs as a player. I think he fits well into what they want to do. But I'm just concerned about the Colts as a whole. But in terms of not getting eaten in the draft, you're absolutely right. The Colts were a team that I would have put money, would have drafted a wide receiver, and I'm obviously glad I did not because they just completely ignored that position, which was kind of baffling to me. Well, I guess they didn't. They took
Yeah, Deion Burks, yeah.
Deion Burks in the seventh round
AKA
era.
Josh Downs body double.
Yeah, like okay,
So
cool.
which one of these guys is playing slot?
Yeah. Um,
Absurd.
Well, we'll keep it in the wide receiver room. I'll throw out super quick Matthew Golden. Had a really good
Oh yeah.
offseason in terms of Romeo's gone, Dontavian Wicks gone. The only wide receiver that was brought in for the Packers was Sky Moore to do punts and J. Michael Strudavant, an undrafted free agent who, to be fair, is making people excited during OTA. So we'll see how that goes. But to me, this wide receiver room got a whole lot cleaner and a whole lot clearer. To me, Golden has a really high chance for a solid breakout. So, which LA team do you want to hear about? And the other one will be an honorable mention.
Give me the Rams.
Give me the Rams. All right. Well, good because Lad McConkey, I kind of mentioned him a few weeks ago. I forget what we were talking about. But Lad McConkey would be the honorable mention there for the Chargers. I think Keenan Allen bouncing out clears the runway for McConkey to be the guy in Mike McDaniel's offense. He was already second in targets for the Chargers. So without Allen and no real depth brought in at wide receiver. I think McConkey is a true honorable mention. So we'll talk about though the Rams because that's who you wanted.
Yep.
That is Devontae Adams. The Rams all offseason were being tied to wide receiver. I cannot tell you how many mock drafts I saw of Makai Lemon going to the Rams, articles about how much the Rams love Makai Lemon, how they might trade up to get Jordan Tyson, all this stuff. That was all I heard about. And the only wide receiver that the Rams left with in the draft was CJ Daniels in the sixth
Bring
round.
it. Bring it.
Like, what? So, okay. Obviously, Adams is not taking over Puka. Puka is still clearly the lead horse here in the offense. But I don't see now why Adams' target share, and especially his end zone target share, would drop. at all this season. He's always been a red zone problem, Adams has, and he may dip from a year where he led the league in touchdowns, obviously, because typically the guy that leads the league in touchdowns doesn't do it multiple years in a row, regardless of who he is. So he may not end up as the wide receiver nine that he was last year. But I still think he can have a great year with the Rams. And he's going to be a very viable wide receiver in fantasy. To me, he's either still a borderline wide receiver one or a high end wide receiver two. Like there is no real competition for him coming into this year with Matthew
Whoa.
Stafford.
Whoa.
What? Who?
CJ Daniels, baby.
Oh,
Bring it
come on
on.
now. Come on now.
I'll see you
Uh,
next year when we're talking about it, you know?
maybe. Who knows? But
No,
to me,
you're right. You're right.
like
1000%.
Adams was a guy that I was starting to get scared. There were all these weird trade rumors bubbling up again for him as well from the Rams. Like there's all kind of stuff going on, and he basically walked out of the draft with his job still intact. And Matthew Stafford talking about how great he is and how much fun it was to work with him. And instead of just putting words in his mouth, let me pull up his quote about Adams because he was pretty glowing about what they could do in season two together. Uh, I should have had this ready.
Yeah,
Uh,
I would
oh,
say that I was a little shocked that I thought Lemon was kind of a shoe-in for the Rams. I think a lot of people were talking about that option. So it was crazy when they went Ty Simpson. I think that just threw everything off and definitely helped Adams out. But you got my quote. You got my quote.
I do not. I keep finding a
Oh.
different one. So never mind. But it was paraphrasing him, basically saying that they did a lot in year one, and he thinks that there's even a higher level that they could go in year two together. So.
Mm, mm. That sounds pretty, that sounds romantic. I like that, dude. Just getting started. Well, good call. Good shout there. I like it. It's a good choice. I'm gonna go redemption story. Are we ready for
Okay,
this?
let's do it.
This is I feel like multiple years in a row, it just keeps happening. Will the Dallas Cowboys ever draft a running back?
Yeah, he was on my list at one point.
The answer is no. No, no, no. And it's looking pretty cool to me. Javonte Williams just hit the resurrection button last season, and my
Hmm.
gosh, dude went wild. 1,200 yards, scored 13 all-purpose touchdowns, one more than R.J. Hari for those of those doing the math here. And then they do like I don't have anything to say about it except for like there's
Mm-mm.
nothing prevented him from running it back, as the kids say. So I don't know, man. I still can't believe it. And they had every opportunity this year to go after Price, I guess, if they wanted to. I know they needed to do some work, but they had the multiple picks and everything, and I thought they're gonna get cute and do something fishy, but no, they just said, "Hey, man, you did great. Why don't you just come on and do it again?" Honestly, I was just blown away by the rebound he has, and I don't think
Hmm.
there's anything stopping him from keeping the ball rolling here, whatever that means, the football rolling. Um, but yeah, he's going off at RB20 and keep trade cut, and I think it's a little disrespectful, man. He's still
Yeah.
young enough in the game to keep it rolling, and yeah, I don't know, man. I'm a little shocked that
Yeah.
he's not getting a little more respect after kind of showing who he was the whole time, and,
Yeah.
and just breaking out and being asked to do it without any sort of competition. And he's in a Chase Brown level situation
Yeah.
as far as the passing offense, but he has a lot more talent, in my opinion, to back it up. So
Yeah.
crazy.
No, I agree. I actually was gonna say the exact same similar Chase Brown quote there because like yeah, it's the same thing. Like that offense is so scary everywhere else that Javonte kind of gets a little forgotten and he'll make you pay for it. And yeah, there's nobody. I mean, Jaden Blue is still behind him. Um, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
So. I was very surprised at the Cowboys. I obviously it didn't seem like they were going to go running back in the first round just because of how
No,
bad their defense was. But the fact that they just didn't address it at all is pretty astounding. And then they paid Javonte Williams as well. So good for
right.
him. Obviously, a guy we loved coming out of North Carolina. So it's
Yeah,
good to
going
see him
good.
kind of finally really be the guy and get another year to have a legacy a little bit, you know.
I don't get it. They had three fourth round picks. They
Yep.
couldn't pick up Emmett Johnson. What are we doing here? This is getting crazy.
It is wild. But all right, there you have it. There's our three up and three down for veterans after the draft. So we're back at it. We will be here next week, barring any sort of crazy circumstances. But until then, we've been Rough Draft Research. You've been the audience, and we'll see you next time.
Yes, enjoy yourselves, enjoy each other. We'll see you around.
Thinking